Scotty2 Hockey here, but as you know, I'm also a huge UFC fan. And the first question I'm going to start off with in my UFC London recap is, did the Darren Till hype train get derailed last night? Did we see the end of the top dog Darren Till? I love Darren Till. He did get fast-tracked quite a bit after the Cerrone fight. He won a controversial decision over Wonderboy. He lost to Woodley, and he got absolutely smashed by Masvidal in the second round. It was a good fight. Till held his own. Till won the first round hands down. It looked like Till was going to win the fight, but coming out in the second round, Masvidal was game bred and he was ready to go. So great card. As for the card, UFC London, the main card, John Phillips lost to some guy. I didn't write down that name. That was the very first case. Two of the guys in the first, John Phillips and the other guy, I've never heard of either one of them, so I never even really watched the fight. I'm not going to lie, guys. I didn't watch that fight, so I didn't write it down. But I watched all the rest of these fights. There's three I'd like to talk about. But anyways, as for the card, Claudio Silva defeats Danny Roberts by submission round 3, 2:37 of round 3. Nathaniel Wood won round 2 by submission. Ozdemir loses to Reyes, split decision. In a decision I thought Ozdemir should have won. I actually picked Reyes to win this fight, but I still think Ozdemir should have won that fight. Nelson loses to Edwards in a decision, which really surprised me. I also picked Nelson to win that fight. I was wrong once again. Till loses via KO 3:05 of round 2. Like Paul Felder said in the post-fight, who seen that coming? I had Till picked by KO. So my picks were atrocious. If anybody watched my videos and bet money, I feel bad for them, but I know they didn't. I don't have enough subscribers for people to do that. But God, thank God I didn't bet money. It was brutal, guys. Darren Till got rocked in his own home. I'll get into the first fight I want to talk about. That's Ozdemir versus Reyes. A good heavyweight tilt. Reyes looked like he was doing really good in the first round, but from the second and third round, it was all Ozdemir to me. He was staying on the front foot. He was landing his jabs. He was getting a few power shots in there. He got a takedown at one point. He implemented a good game plan, and he outpointed Reyes. It seemed like he landed more. It seemed like he was the guy controlling the aggression. It seemed like he was the guy that clinched more. It seemed like he was going to win the fight. Like he won 2 rounds to 1 to me. Reyes had a good first round. There was no real huge blows. Reyes got hit with one shot by Ozdemir at one point. Took his feet off underneath him, but it wasn't like anything that scared him, was going to absolutely knock him out, take him out of the game or anything like that. And Ozdemir ends up losing a decision to Reyes, a split decision. When they announced it, I was kind of shocked. I had to go check, see if Reyes was British or something, because I didn't know what was on the go. But yeah, Ozdemir loses that fight. 3rd loss in a row for Ozdemir after having only 1 loss in like 15 fights prior to that. Gunnar Nelson loses to Leon Edwards in a very surprising fight to me. I thought Nelson would control the ground game if it did go to the ground game. When it did go to the ground, Edwards was the one doing most of the control, and Edwards pretty much controlled most of the stand-up. He looked like the better stand-up. He looked like the better striker. He looked like the better wrestler. He looked like he was good enough to negate all of Gunnar Nelson's submission attempts. So it was a pretty good fight. I actually missed a half a round of that fight. I was coming out of the room. I was watching my daughter during the fight. It was Fight Night Live. It was on TV here at 5:30 in Newfoundland. It was during the day, just before my hockey game when my team got blown out. So not only did I see my team get blown out, I seen all the picks that I picked for the fight lose, and Darren Till get KO'd his hometown. So rough night for Till fans. Thankfully, I'm not a massive Till fan. I do like the guy. Sucks to see him lose like that to Masvidal, but I like Masvidal too. It's not the end of the world. Now, if it was somebody who I was a huge fan of, like, say, John Jones or somebody like that losing, then it would be a whole different story. But I can handle Till losing, I guess. He was a bit overhyped. I'm not massively surprised. I'm just massively surprised he got knocked out. I'm not massively surprised he lost. If Masvidal did win, I would have seen him winning with either wrestling or just outstriking him, outpointing him. But I did not see him knocking out Darren Till. If Masvidal won, I was going to see a decision. He'd either win a hard-fought decision or maybe get a submission on the ground. Because Till, he's good at negating wrestling. He's good at getting back up if he does get taken out. But I haven't seen much from him on the ground as far as ground skills. I haven't seen any kind of like triangle attempts or any kind of good guard or him getting guys off him. Guys can easily transition. We've seen how easily Woodley made it look. But one thing about Till is he's really hard to take down. He's a guy, once you get him down, getting on top of him, implementing your game plan, using your positions, using your transitions, it's not easy once he's right back up like that. So you got to get into his guard, and you got to get side control, you got to get a half guard on him, you got to work slow with Till, slowly work your way in there like Woodley did, and get those bows off, get those shots off. Masvidal didn't really do that. Masvidal got a takedown in the second round, but this was mostly an all-striking fight. Anyways, as for Till versus Masvidal, the first round started off with a bang. Masvidal comes out, he goes to throw this weird funky kick. He accidentally kicks Till right between the legs. It stops for a minute. Masvidal apologizes. Till looks like he's fine, shakes it off after about 45 seconds. They come out to square up again. About 20-30 seconds after that, Darren Till lands a clean overhand left, which drops Masvidal to his butt. I watched the post-fight interview. Masvidal said he was almost out after that shot. He said it put it into a rage. He said if he gets back up, he's going to finish Till. Till knocked him on the ground. Looked like he was swarming him, trying to finish him. Landed a lot of nice shots on the ground. Landed a few elbows, a few shots from the top. I don't know if he landed any of those elbows that he did throw, but he was throwing bows and he was throwing straight shots and he was trying to get on top of Masvidal. He wasn't trying to wrestle him, like sit on top of him, clinch him. Like he probably should have just sat on top of him and ground pounded him. But that's not Till's style. He was trying to get over top of him and finish the knockout. But once Masvidal scrambled and got back to his feet, it was pretty much a decent fight after that. The last 2 or 3 minutes of the first round, Till did dominate the pace. He was landing the jab. Masvidal was getting a few shots in. He was getting a few counter lefts in. But the second round is where Masvidal put in work. The second round starts off with Till trying to get his jab off, and he just can't seem to get it off. Masvidal seemed like he had him timed really well in the second round, and he started landing combos. He started landing a few bombs. They may not have looked that bad because it was Darren Till taking them, like he was shaking them off like they were nothing, but on an average fighter, they would have dropped him. Like if he was hitting Cerrone with those at welterweight, they would have dropped him earlier than what it took Till to get dropped. He was landing some good combos. He was getting that left off a lot. He was going southpaw a lot until he managed to get a takedown in the second round. Till scrambled, got back up from the takedown eventually, but Masvidal just put it on him after that. He landed a couple nice combos, couple nice rights, couple nice lefts, a good body kick at one point just about 30 seconds before the KO. Till shook it off. He was smiling at him. He looked like he was ready to go. Till landed just before Till got KO'd, about 20 seconds before he got KO'd, he landed a beautiful jab. It looked like he was getting back into it. He was starting to implement his game plan a bit. He was moving back fast on his feet. He was shifting. But at one point, he came in too close to Masvidal. He was within boxing range. Masvidal lands a big left. And as Till's falling back, he lands an uppercut, almost an uppercut, like a side swooping right to the jaw. And as Till's falling back, he hits him with another big left. And as soon as Till hits the ground, he runs over and KOs him with the left bomb. It was a beautiful performance by Masvidal, and he deserved to win the fight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. After the fight, there was big-time controversy. Leon Edwards called out Jorge Masvidal before his... Masvidal was doing an interview, a post-fight interview, and Leon Edwards was walking by, called him out, said he was a bitch, wants to fight him in July. At least that's what I caught in the background. I heard something about July. I heard the word bitch, and then I heard Masvidal say that to my face, and Masvidal walked over to him with his hands behind his back. He didn't look like he was going to square up or punch him at all. It was kind of cheap. Masvidal walks over with his hands behind his back like he's going to square up to him, puts his chin up. Leon Edwards like, yo, what's up? Ready to speak to Masvidal or tell him off. And before anybody knows what's happening, Masvidal comes out with those lightning rights and lefts. He landed at least 4 clean shots on Edwards. He busted his cheek open. He dropped him back into his manager's arms at one point. Edwards wasn't knocked out by no means, but he was caught off guard, shocked, and dropped, and it was cheap. I wouldn't be surprised if Masvidal does get suspended and does get fined for this, but it was crazy and it leads up to some good hype. I heard people saying Masvidal is going to get the next fight against Kamaru Usman. That's just wrong. I'm not a Colby Covington fan by no means, but Dana White has already said Colby Covington's getting the decision. Colby Covington won an interim title. He hasn't lost to anybody. He's beaten Damian Maia. He's beaten RDA. He's beaten all these guys. He deserves the title shot. The only other guy that there's a claim for right now that deserves that title shot, in my opinion, is Tyron Woodley. That's it, because he had 4 defenses and he had a good run prior to that. So maybe he deserved a rematch, but the way he lost, he doesn't deserve a rematch. We all know that. So to me, there's only one guy who deserves a shot right now, and that's Colby Covington. After that, it's Masvidal. I think Masvidal should fight Edwards. Winner of that fight gets the winner of Covington and Usman. That would make for a great storyline at welterweight. Anyways, welterweight stacked guys is looking really hot, especially after tonight's card. Masvidal's back on the scene. It's been a while since he's won. 2017, he knocked out Donald Cerrone. So it's been a while since he's won. He was off doing a reality show where it was like a Survivor Man type show where he was in the woods. He was saying he was by himself for 6 weeks in the woods trying to survive. So Masvidal's a crazy dude. He's a beast. He's great. Game bred for sure. I've become more and more of a fan of him every single time he fights. He says he loves going into buildings and quieting the fans. He loves going into opposing fighters' buildings and quieting their fans, and he really does. He went into Denver. He quieted Denver when Cerrone fought there. He went into London, which was a crazy crowd. You look at the Q&A, they were telling Ben Askren off like crazy. He went into London, and he absolutely silenced the critics. He silenced the building. Crickets at the end of that fight. I've never seen a building go so quiet in my life. Anyways, guys, UFC London 202 was great. If you're a Darren Till fan, I feel your pain, guys. Is the train derailed? Let me know what you think. Stay tuned for lots more UFC content. I know this is primarily a hockey channel at the moment, but with the hockey season ending soon, there will be plenty more UFC content to come. Feel free to subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification button for my videos. Like, feel free to leave a comment. You have a great day, folks. I hope you enjoyed the car. This is Scotty2Hockey, over and out.